Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. First and foremost, I want to give a huge thank you to you guys, the subscribers, because we officially reached 100,000 subscribers. I know it's nothing like major, but I don't know. It means a lot to me. It's really been the greatest gift to be able to connect with all you guys, and in return for you guys to just show so much love and tons of support for me. So I can't thank you enough for that. I also do want to say I'm sorry for not uploading these last couple of weeks. I know a few of you out there do look forward to these uploads, and I don't even know where to be able to explain to you why. There's a lot going on up here with me. Maybe one day I'll share, but today's not the day. So today is the day, though. I want to share with you how I created a really elegant emerald smoky eye paired with a stunning nude lip on our beautiful model, Christina. So if you want to learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using the Mercier Infusion to Rose Moisturizing Glow Mask to prep our model's skin for the makeup we'll be putting on top of it. Although this is a mask, I do leave it on the skin and I don't remove it. I love the way this product just settles into the skin and prepares it for the following products. And rather than just applying this to the face, I do also bring it down the neck and onto the collarbones and shoulders. Once I give the skin a few minutes to soak in that product, I'm going to move on to foundation, which today will be the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. And if I remember correctly, I believe I used shade 7.75. So I've mentioned it before, but I used the same beauty blender throughout the whole makeup application. I never switch out between beauty blenders when applying skincare and foundation and contour and highlight. I continue to use the same sponge because, well, first, I like to keep it simple and have never really found use of using 3 different sponges, but also because I find that the remains of the skincare in the sponge help with the blend of the foundation, and the remains of the foundation in the sponge help blend the contour, and so on and so forth. So if you haven't tried it, give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. You may notice I don't bring the foundation right up to her under eyes, which I usually don't in my makeup applications because we're going to be applying concealer there in a bit anyways, so it doesn't make much sense for me to double layer. And because that under eye skin is so delicate and prone to creasing, I want to apply the least amount of product there as possible. Alright, so to contour, I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Cream Foundation Stick in the shade Y505, and I'm applying this to all the areas I want to create a little dimension, such as the forehead, the cheekbones, jawline, and nose. You'll even see me apply this to the shoulders too. As usual, I'm not going to drive myself crazy by trying to get this placement so perfect, because we're going to end up blending it all out anyways. And I'm also not going too heavy with it either. Our model, Christina, like everyone I've done makeup for on our channel, is beautiful as is without the makeup. But I wanted to make sure I nailed the contour and highlight because Christina is a makeup artist herself, and I didn't want her reading me for filth. So I had to make sure I got this right on her. If you guys have a minute, check out her channel. I'll link it down below. She's so talented and honestly so sweet. And on her channel, you'll see she recreated the Barbie look I posted a few weeks ago, and it turned out so amazing that maybe it turned out better than mine. It was fun to watch. I love watching all the videos you guys post of recreating my looks. It's pretty cool to see you guys take a look I created and put your own twist on it. You know what I mean? And I always learn something from those videos too. I'll be watching and be like, huh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought to apply it that way. So thank you guys for inspiring me and making me think outside the box. So as you see here, we have this contour blended out for the most part. Nothing looks too harsh or overdone. Everything is kept soft and subtle before I go kind of dramatic with the highlight. To highlight, I'm using my tried and true Sensual Skin Enhancer from Kevyn in the shade SX04. And because, as I said, I wanted it to be dramatic, I did mix in just a little bit of the SX02 shade to bump up the brightness, and beginning with applying this to the under eye area, not being too precise with the placement either since we'll be buffing it out. This is a really thick concealer, so I do keep in mind that a little goes a long way. Even the amount applied here is still quite a bit, but we're doing a pretty full glam look today, so it'll all tie in together nicely by the end of the video. And you'll notice I blend out this concealer with the pointier side of the blender, and then when I want to buff out the edges, I'll flip to the rounder side of the blender because the remains of that foundation and contour we used earlier will really help diffuse the edges and create a more seamless transition. It's a lot of back and forth, but I've kept this blending footage in for those of you who enjoy watching it. Okay, so we have everything blended out and now it's time to set everything into place. To do so, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Loose Setting Powder in the shade Vanilla, pouring this into the palm of my hand and with a powder puff, pressing this product into the skin. I start with the under eyes because that's the area that's quickest to crease, and then I continue on with the rest of the face. You may not be able to really tell on camera, but I'm not using a whole lot of this powder, just enough to set the products into place and to be able to use bronzers and blushes on top of it without it skipping. And honestly, the powder puff is doing half of the work for me. Yes, the powder sets the makeup, but the material of the powder puff soaks up the oils, much like that of a blotting paper, if that makes sense. But really, you can barely see any residue of the powder I'm applying onto the face here. I did go a little heavier with the powder underneath the eyes, but only because I used a heavier concealer in that area. But the rest of the face, I kept pretty simple and subtle with the powder. And by the time I'm done with this whole makeup application, the natural oils from our model's skin will start to appear through the foundation and through the powders, therefore giving us a more natural skin-like luminous effect. After blending out any creasing from the top of the eyelids, I'm using an eyeshadow brush to set that concealer with setting powder. And this will then act as our eye base for the shadows that we then place on top of it. And I'm being sure to run this powder through the brow hairs as well. So the brow pencil that I end up using really ends up gripping onto this area of the skin when we apply it. You can check out my past videos of mine where I explain this step a little bit more in depth. I'm also using this brush to apply setting powder to any specific areas of the face that I want to add a little extra powder to. Next, with the Benefit Caramel Hoola Bronzer, I'm applying this to the same areas we had applied the cream contour earlier. This is where that setting powder really comes into play. If I were to apply the bronzer straight on top of this cream contour without it being set with powder beforehand, it would come off way too pigmented and or patchy. But bronzers aren't really intended to be used as setting products, so by setting these areas beforehand, I'm preventing the bronzer from skipping and appearing muddy. Also, side note, I'm using this bronzer to bring down to the collarbones and shoulders, just as we had done with the cream contour earlier. Now, with the same Anastasia Beverly Hills setting powder we used to set the face, I'm using this to bake the jawline. By this point, we all know what baking is. I'm choosing to only bake the jawline here with Christina because this is really the only area of the face I wanted to enhance and lift, which is why I bring the powder down to the corners of the mouth. It'll really give us that more lifted effect while also sharpening the contour. I choose not to bake underneath the eyes because I've already gone so full coverage with the concealer here, and I really have already applied more than enough powder to set it. And with this emerald green eyeliner from Haus Laboratories in the shade Empire, this is where the fun begins. As you see, I'm applying this pencil from the lash line all the way up to the crease before I begin buffing it out with a shadow brush. Emerald green is one of my most favorite colors to work with, especially for the eyes, and I felt this would be the perfect look to do on our model. Along with applying this on the lid, you'll see that I applied this on the bottom lash line as well before I buff it out with another blending brush. And this is the beauty about applying a cream base onto the lids before a shadow, is that you rarely have to worry about there being fallout. Like you'll see here, I don't apply powder underneath the eyes to catch fallout from future eyeshadows we'll be using because it's not something I need to worry about. Any eyeshadows we apply onto this will really grip onto the pigment from the pencil. I love this approach anytime I approach eye makeup, regardless of the colors I use, which is why 99% of the time I do the face makeup before I do the eye makeup. Now, with this eyeshadow palette I'm about to show you, I warn you, it looks so busted. Don't judge me. I was gonna clean it up before grabbing the product shop, but there was really no hope for it. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism eyeshadow palette, and I'm using the emerald shimmer shade called Throne to set the eye pencil we used on the lid. I'm pressing this on with a flatter eyeshadow brush before I buff out the edges, and this method of layering different formulas of the same shade really helps make the eyeshadow appear more saturated, more opaque, especially in flash photography or in bright lighting for videography, such as what we're doing today. And to really strengthen the drama of this look, I'm using the One Size Beauty black eye pencil to run through the waterline. And notice how I bring this to the very inner corner and barely lengthening that area to create an even more elongated eye shape. Then, with a black eyeshadow from the Prism palette that we used earlier, I'm going to smoke out that liner. Also, from One Size Beauty, I'm using the Point Made eyeliner pen to line the top lid. Oh, I get so nervous doing this with my shaky hands. I really wanted a thin, understated liner, and yeah, that happened. So we're going a little bolder than I had planned. But once I completed the other eye off camera, I applied Lilly lashes in the style Miami. It's been a minute since I've used such a dramatic lash, so I was pretty excited to use this lash to really bump up this look to a whole nother level. For brows, I'm using the dark brown brow definer by Anastasia Beverly Hills to lengthen and fill in the brows. For this look, particularly, I decided to do the eyes first because I didn't know just how dramatic I was going to go with the eye look. And now that I have that completed, I'm using that to judge just how dark I want to go for the brows. Usually for darker, more dramatic eye looks, the lighter and simpler I'll go for brows, and vice versa. And with this Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced, I'm lightly coating the bottom lashes. Using the Champagne Pop highlighter from Becca, I'm adding some glow and radiance back to the skin, starting from the high point of Christina's cheekbones up onto the forehead just a bit, and of course the Cupid's bow and tip of the nose. Next, to line the lips, I'm using a Morphe lip liner in the shade Sweet Tea, and starting from the outer corner and working my way upwards towards the Cupid's bow. Now, I was debating on whether or not I should do a nude lip or a bold red lip, because in some kind of fantasy world of mine, I felt like a red lip would look really beautiful with this emerald green eye. But at the same time, you guys already know, a glossy nude lip always wins the game in my heart. So we played it safe and went with this. For the very center of the lip, I'm using an oldie but a goodie MAC's Peach Stock Lipstick, which is a beautiful peachy nude cream satin finish. To top off this lip, I'm using a gloss from Over Cosmetics in the shade Bali to give a golden shine to the lips. One of these days, I promise you guys, I'll do a matte lip, but like myself, our model was experiencing chapped lips this day, which we tried using a lip exfoliant for, but anyways, a gloss was the best direction to take in this case. Next, with a KKW blush in the shade Very Graceful, I'm brushing this onto the cheeks to give them a peachy pop of color. And for the final step, I'm using the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray to lock this makeup into place. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we took this naturally gorgeous girl from this and turned her into a movie star. There we have it, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at PAINTEDBYSPENCER. And until next time, I'll see you soon.